have heard excellent speakers and an excellent discussion about how to avoid complications, how to deal with complications, and I'm just going to touch upon the topics over here. As the generations of endoscope have advanced, we have seen that the indications of surgery have increased. With the indication also the complications have increased because of the technological advancements. We are doing more and more complex cases. What were earlier a contraindication have now become an indication. So to comment upon Dr. Prashant Rao's topic and Dr. Shreyas's topic over here, transfemoral approach has about 3 times more complications than interlaminar decompression. The most common complications in a transfemoral discectomy are recurrence, persistent pain, there's no pain relief, dural tear, incomplete decompression, surgical site infection in a few cases, or epidural hematoma. And in another case, a systematic review, we can see that in interlaminar cases, the complication could be dural tear, epidural hematoma, transient dysesthesia, whereas in transfemoral decompression, dysesthesia, possibly due to nerve root retraction, or untreated pain, and then dural tearing is more common in that sequence. The overall rate of dural tear in endoscopic spine surgery is about 2.7%. It varies from 0 to 8.6, possibly underreporting, possibly issue of training. And all of us, like Dr. Manish just asked the question, that the difference in your complication rate is going to be different from the first 100, next 100, third 100, and every time it's going to be different. The incidence of dural tear was actually much higher in treatment of lumbar canal stenosis as compared to pure lumbar disc herniation. The risk also increased in bilateral decompression as against any decompression for unilateral approach. Autologous muscle or fat graft in combination with the fibrin glue is the most common method of treatment from most of us. A double-layer taco seal packing technique has been described by most of our speakers that we have shared a very, very active WhatsApp group on which most of the cases and complications that we have heard to Dr. Lohana's case, so many other cases we have discussed on that. And there are so many solutions coming up how we are individually tackling with these complications, or simple option of converting to open or tubular surgery and doing a primary dural repair. Dr. Wong and we have one more topic about the translaminar fenestration. That was an excellent topic that was touched upon. So interlaminar window can have a limitation that it might not allow us complete access to a highly migrated disc herniation. In such cases, we can do a drill for translaminar approach, or also a Tom sheet needle can be used. A relative contraindication for such technique is when there is a ligamental flavum hypertrophy or a moderate to severe canal stenosis. It's not a pure disc herniation. At that time, you might have to still do interlaminar decompression. This is what we were discussing some time back. This is a cumulative summative complication of every individual surgery. It keeps on increasing till the 24th case in interlaminar approach, and then it becomes rather easy. There is again an increase in 56th case. Why? Because now you are taking up more and more difficult cases. You are doing redo surgeries. You are doing cervical. You are doing thoracic. Now you are also doing thoracic myelopathy. And then there is a dip, and then your comfort zone comes. Never forget your learning curve, and you should not have any significant complications. Like Dr. Manish was asking, how should you progress from lumbar to cervical? That is a very important step you should be knowing. Are you ready to handle the cervical spine very efficiently without causing any complication? Only then you should venture into that zone. As we are progressing, we need to remember that endoscopic surgery does not yield good result in every single spinal disease, and it is important to select appropriate indication to obtain a good result. We have discussed about indications and contraindications of putting fully endoscopic anterior cervical discectomy, fully endoscopic posterior cervical discectomy. These are all available in the literature. Don't bypass these techniques, and you should fall within the safe zone. Now, lumbar contraindication, on the other hand, are very relative. It depends on the level of your training. Most of the people today, severe canal stenosis, calcified disc is not a contraindication, it's a straightforward indication. Cauda equina syndrome, we are hearing so many cases from our seniors and experts where a patient with Cauda equina syndrome was treated with endoscopic surgery and they have found very good success. On the contrary, for fibrotic adhesions and discitis, today most of the surgeons are recommending that endoscopy has a slightly superior approach, considerations and result as compared to standard open technique. But to conclude, you have to see where you are lying in the evolution of endoscopic surgery. the evolution of endoscopic surgery is separate from evolution of endoscopic surgeon. Just because people are doing fusion does not mean your 10th case should be an endoscopic fusion. You have to go with the wave only so that you avoid unnecessary complications. Thank you so much.